What's up, guys? This is PelicanMan here, bringing you another league with Quest for the Holy Relic. So this week we're trying something different again. We've decided to cut the blue splash and add a red splash. Again, the main deck is pure mono white, but yeah, we have a green splash and a red splash now. So to accommodate that, we've got 8 fetch lands here. Just any white fetch land will do. We've got 1 white-red shock land, 1 white-green shock land. If you've watched any of my Sun Moon videos, you'll see that I opened this Temple Garden chest, so I'm throwing it in rather than my boring normal ones. A bunch of basic plains, 2 Horizon Canopies, 2 Sunbaked Canyons. The Canopy lands feel pretty good in this deck, so I'll go with 2-2 split because unlike with the blue splash, we actually get Horizon land effects in our red splash, which is nice. The main deck's basically the same as our last league. We have brought Martyr's Soul back in. I do believe that it is the best card in the last slots in the deck. I could even see wanting a 4th one, or maybe like going down a Gingerbread or something, but we'll test this for this week. And the sideboard. So I've been running a bunch of one-offs in the sideboard every week to kind of get a feel for all these different cards and kind of like, you know, rather than having 2 Veil of Summer, I'll have like a Veil of Summer and a Leyline of Sanctity, like trying to split the effect between a bunch of different cards. So a bunch of these I've landed on as being pretty solid. Canonist does a lot of work in the unfair, like stormy kind of matchups, like the matchups that want to chain spells and stuff, as well as being like a fine creature in the deck that doesn't really affect us at all. Containment Priest, there's some unfair matchups where this is just hard to compete with, and I felt like I'm missing Paths to Exile a bit. So before I bring that back in, I'm going to test kind of my Path replacements, running them at higher numbers and seeing if that helps. Speaking of Path replacements, Giant Killer has just put in solid work really in all the matchups where I've brought it in and managed to find it. So I'm happy to run the second copy just to hit it more often when I need it. Selfless Savior, this was a 1-1 split with Bone and Forge Tender. I've run Selfless Spirit. So Selfless Savior is I think the better of all those effects, and I'm pretty happy to just lean into it and see how it goes. We've got Veil of Summer, which, like I said, I have run split before. I've run a Veil of Summer and a Mystical Dispute and a Leyline of Sanctity, and I think Veil of Summer is just the best of all those effects, so I'm pretty happy to be on 2 of those. What have I done there? Come on. Just get in a pile, that's fine. The new card and the reason for the red splash. So the green splash is literally just for these Veil of Summers, and our red splash is just for these Alpine Moons for the Tron matchup. We actually had a fine time against Tron last league. We managed to score a couple of wins there, so our Tron matchup isn't awful, but that was not because of the power of our sideboard, but the power of our main deck. We managed to get the right kind of hands, which is something I feel like I've said in the past about the Tron matchup, is our fast quest hands can beat Tron. And that's kind of what we've had to hope for in the past. So I'm hoping that sideboarding something like Alpine Moon can maybe give us a little bit more of an edge there. The last 3 slots haven't changed. We've got the one of Soulguide Lantern for the graveyard matchups, for the Uro matchups. I could see wanting a second effect that does this. Soulguide Lantern's been solid. I've tried like Remorseful Cleric. I don't know that I've tried Tormod's Crypt, but I feel like Soulguide Lantern combos nicely with stuff like Glenhawk and Skyfish, so I'm happy to keep sitting on this for a while. It's especially good against Uro in particular, so I've been pretty happy with that. And our backup swords that we have to sideboard into, the Sword of War and Peace and Sword of Sinew and Steel, they felt pretty good. I haven't felt like Feast and Famine replacing with Sword and Sinew of Steel hasn't felt bad yet. I think the thing that I'm considering most is that I may not need this pro black sword at all in the sideboard, or that maybe I do want Feast and Famine just for like the amulet type matchup, so that I can't be blocked by Titans or zombie tokens or something. Maybe that's the direction I want to lead. Maybe Light and Shadow to be a bit grindy, because we've swapped to this one for like the Jund matchup in particular. So maybe Light and Shadow being able to bring back our creatures that die could be good there, and maybe then we don't need the Sword of War and Peace because it could also be a pro white sword. Sword of War and Peace has always looks really good on paper to me, but it hasn't been entirely necessary, so that could be somewhere to look for next league. Maybe I'll try cutting these and adding like a second Soulguide Lantern and something else. I'm not quite sure. But for this league, we are going to run with this and see how we feel about it. So with that said, match number 1 coming up. Alright, looks like we found an opponent for match number 1 with Quest for the Holy Relic. We have won the die roll. We've been pretty lucky with those recently. Okay, so this hand sucks. It's full of 2-drops, so we'll mulligan. Pretty easy. This hand is more tempting. So it's turn 1 3-bit Inspector, turn 2 Stoneforge, turn 3 playing out a Martyr's Soul. I think I like it. Question is, what do we bottom? We can bottom the second Martyr's Soul, but we might actually want the power. Whereas the 3... Well, the 3 Inspector's free because we're trying to play a Martyr's Soul, right? So the second Martyr's Soul is what we don't need. Okay, we're going to start with Flooded Strand into basic planes. Play out Thraven Inspector. Oh goody, it's Tron. It feels like every time I keep a Stoneforge here, normally it's like a Storm matchup, but it feels like most of the time I get punished by seeing Tron on the other side. Well, this is unfortunate. There's no benefit to play at the Martyr's Soul over the Stoneforge this turn. Maybe cracking Clue does something. So if I crack Clue and I find Quest, I'm still so far off activate. I think I just have to hope that this means they don't have like a crazy good Tron hand. If they like crack this into a Sylvan Scrying, I'm in a bit of trouble, but let's grab our Sword of Fire and Ice. Get in with Thraben Inspector. So we'll see what we draw next turn, see if maybe cracking the Clue could have changed things. I don't know that there's a way that it changes the maths in any impactful way though. Come on, show me like an Ancient Stirrings or something, opponent. And they've got the Sylvan Scrying, so they're going to assemble Tron. So... I can play like all my creatures here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So if I play a Thraben Inspector, then I've got 3. So I can activate Stoneforge. Yeah, okay. So activate Stoneforge. Put the Batterskull in. Play the Thraben Inspector. And we'll cast the Martyr's Soul. Okay. Maybe this wide board that we've got now is enough. Like, I can top deck a land next turn and use Stoneforge to drop in the Sword of Fire and Ice and equip it if there is a land on top. So this is probably a Khan. Blister, and all is dust. Ugh. Yeah, that's yeah. Well, so let's bring in the Alpine Moons. Let's make this slide upgrade. I think I like having this option here. We don't want the Batterskull. We don't want the Stoneforges. So it's sacrifice, so you don't do anything. I think I'm happy to just bring in the giant killers. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yes, I would like to play first. Alright, this hand's pretty good. The Alpine Moon's a bit stranded, but we have a quest. We have a zero drop, we got a Martyr's Soul. I'm not going to complain. So I'm going to hold on to the Memnite because I don't believe there's any value in playing it on turn 1. Like, turn 2 I'm just going to play my second land, play the Memnite, play the Martyr's Soul. So I just want to make sure that they can't remove the Memnite in any way. Alright, they've mulliganed 6 so far. They've gone down to 5 cards. Okay. So, like I mentioned last week, Tron does get the benefit of... They get the benefit of being afforded to mulligan this aggressively, and I'm glad this opponent seems to know what's up with that. This does, like, at this point they can keep shakier hands, which is even better for our potentially slow quest hand. So they keep their 5. Play out the quest, pass back to our opponent. Or back to our opponent, pass to our opponent. Alright. Tron land into map is a good start for them. Gingerbrute's a pretty good draw. I would really like to find a red source for this Alpine Moon. Alright, get the Gingerbrute in there. Get the Martyr's Soul in there. So next time we've definitely got the Martyr's Soul as an option. So that puts us to our 4th counter. So literally any creature we draw gets an active quest, because even if it's a 2-drop, even if it's another Martyr's Soul, I don't know that we can have an active quest. Our opponent's got kind of the dream handy, which is what they get for mulling so aggressively. But my hand is dreamier. Okay, so Glinthawk is our 4th counter. We could play the Martyr's Soul to get our 5th counter, but instead we're going to bounce the Memnite and replay it. So because of All Is Dust specifically, I'm going to load up the Gingerbrute here. I'm just gonna do this now to see if they have a removal spell they want to cast. Because I've got 2 targets here, so they need to be able to like double Dismember or something. Looks like they don't have it, so I'm gonna break up Tron here with Argentum Armor on the Gingerbrute. Oh, our opponent's doing some reading. This is the last opportunity they get to respond, and they can see that I think they saw the Argentum Armor and what it was going to do there. So on to game number 3. So we're on the draw now. So this is for all the biscuits. We need a real good hand for this. So I think our opponent being on the play is good for us, because I can see how they mulligan, and I'll probably mulligan somewhat aggressively. Alright, here we go. The decider of match 1. Just show me like a turn 2 quest. Ugh. The quest's there, but like the only other card I like is the Skyfisher. Why do I have priority? They're keeping 7. I mean, there's just no way I can keep this. I need to draw runner, like ideal cards, and even then it's a turn 3 quest. This looks much better. We'll keep this. Bottom the Argentum armor, obviously. Let's see what's up. Let's see why they kept their 7. I am worried about a Nature's Claim here. That's my biggest concern, is that they kept based on the strength of like a Nature's Claim. So we'll lead with Quest. We'll again... Will I hold the Ornithopter? Because next turn, if I draw another 0-drop, I've got the Ornithopter in play. I can go... So that's another 0-drop, Glinhawk, 0-drop again. The Martyr Soul, but then all my creatures are tapped anyway. Is there a downside to playing the Ornithopter though? I suppose like Dismember style effects, like the Nature's Claim hitting the Ornithopter would be pretty bad. Is there any way I can get Quest off next turn with a draw? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there anything I can draw that's better than a 0-drop? That's that. I don't think so. Okay. I'm pretty sure I did the maths right on that. I don't know that... I'm pretty sure like my best draw is a 0-drop, and that's still... That gets me to a turn 2 active quest, but it doesn't let me attack with a creature, so I still don't get to get in under Tron. Okay, so they've got Mine and Power Plant. It's kind of scary. Another Sphere. Well, we drew the 0-drop. So what do I do here? Do I pretend I can't get Quest off? No. Here's what I do. Okay. Let me know what you think of this line in the comments. Whether I should potentially trick them into thinking my quest isn't going off, or if this line is the better line. I think... Because like even All Is Dust doesn't punish this line. They need the Nature's Claim, really. So we're going to get the quest active so that they can't use Karn or All Is Dust to deal with it. And they can't even All Is Dust or Karn to get rid of whatever the sword, the Argentum armor would go on, because I have colorless sources and I have multiple creatures. This is good. I think this is correct, because like Karn can only take down a single thing, which if it's the quest, I activate and put something on something. If it's any of the creatures, I just hold up and just put the Argentum armor on a different creature. If it's All Is Dust, I pop the quest and... Oh. So them doing this forces me to pop quest now, but they have to have literally land into Nature's Claim to punish me, which I know that they've been running Wilt over some number of Nature's Claims. I don't know exactly if they're off Nature's Claim entirely or if it's just like a split or something. So we're going to do this. There is an option to get a sword here. Sinew and Steel doesn't do anything right now. That I'm pretty sure they're not playing a Planeswalker down. War and Peace potentially is still a good clock because they are on 5 and I do have a wide board. The issue I have with that is that like my board is 5 power really, because the Ornithopters don't mean anything. So this doesn't... I think I have to go for broke, especially because if I get the sword and they... Well, I mean, this is going to stop me equipping anyway, right? So a sword doesn't do anything. Plus I still need to draw the second land to be able to do that at all. So the question is, who am I loading up with Argentum armor? I think it's still an Ornithopter. I don't know that there's any way I get punished for that. Because like if they have Little Khan, he can't uptick an Ornithopter because he only uptick on non-creature artifacts. If they have Nature's Claim, they can Nature's Claim the Argentum armor anyway. And if they're going to do this for value and like this falls off, then I still have all my power over here. I think if I put it on one of these guys, then potentially they have a kill spell or like an All Is Dust. They still named quest. They've got a green source. They're playing a stirrings. This is huge. This is huge. They found the Urza's Tower. This looks really, really good. I don't know what I'm doing with these three Avid Inspectors, to be honest. So the thing let's just go to combat. So I don't think there's much I'm worried about, because they're not getting to 8 mana because I'm breaking up Tron here. So I think playing at the 3 Avid Inspectors and putting as much clock on board is where I want to be. So I'm just gonna quickly check. They found the power plant of their stirring, so that's what I'm gonna blow up. The way they played their last turn, I have to think they have no answer in their hand currently for this Argentum Armor. We're getting the Sacred Foundry here because Alpine Moon is a relevant card now that we're post-board. Play out another Thraben Inspector and back to our opponent. We have nothing we can do in response, so we're just going to yield their turn to save clock, even though I've burned a bunch of clock by being very picky with my plays this match. Okay. They crack a sphere, they're digging. They play out their tower. Okay. Let's just move straight into combat. Ooh, they found a wilt. Damn. There's no way I can do anything about that. I just have to let that fly. Oh man. Okay. Get back here. What does this put them to? 2. Okay. Do I play at the Giver of Runes? I think I do, just based on the fact that if they play like a Worm Coil or something, I want to be able to like have 2 lethal threats. That could be wrong, but I mean, if they have like a board wipe or something, I don't think Giver of Runes is going to be able to get in twice, realistically. Like, they kept to 7, so I feel like if they can assemble Tron here, we got it. Alright. Match number 1 in the bags. We've beaten Tron. The Alpine Moon showed up in a game, but wasn't relevant. I think we got a little lucky and just mulligan well. But yeah, that's match number 1 in the bags. Join us shortly for match number 2. Alright, looks like we found an opponent. Match number 2 underway. We win the die roll yet again. Ugh. The Argentum Armor makes the head look really bad. The Martyr Souls make it, like the multiple Martyr Souls make it look a little bit worse. This here kind of wants a quest. Like, the 1 land is even kind of rough. So we'll go to 5 and basically keep anything on 5. This is a real good 5. We'll keep bottom land and land. Yeah, I think there's an option to keep second land to make Core Skyfisher a really good draw. But like, damn, what do we like? Any of our 2 drops are good draws. I could like, because I have Giver, I could bottom like the Memnite. I'm definitely bottoming 1 land. Like this deck operates really well on one land, but I think like there's the potential for me to get punished and not find a second land. But like I have 3 creatures. But like what gets the quest off the soonest, right? I suppose I need to draw 2 creatures either way. But this way I won't get punished for missing lands. But my hand just kind of doesn't do anything. We've got 18 lands. We're going to be cracking at least a fetch land, maybe 2. I think we can be greedy. I think I want to be greedy here. Now watch us never find a second land and find a bunch of 2-drops and get punished, right? So exactly Glenhawk? No, Glenhawk doesn't even get there. Yeah, we'll yield. Yeah, there's nothing that lets me attack with a resolved quest on turn 2, so holding on to these dudes. That was a pretty alright draw. Pretty happy to play these out now. Just to put, seeing they're a red deck, I just kind of want to put a lot of bodies on the board. Just have a lot of potential suitors, you know. So now we've got 0-drops as good draws. We've got Martyr's Soul as a good draw. We've got Glinthawk as a good draw. Even land isn't a bad draw because then it opens up a lot of good draws for turn 4. Wild Slash. Kiln Fiend. Wild Slash has kind of thrown me for a loop. Like, maybe they're like a mono red prowess and this is just like they don't want to run Burst Lightning. Maybe because like a Kiln Fiend's like the Ferocious trigger is going to be online. Is that how that works? Like if they cast a Wild Slash, does Kiln Fiend grow and then does Ferocious happen? Okay, they're playing Manamorphose, which means they're going to commit all their spells pre-combat, which I like. Which means I kind of get told whether I need to block or not. Trample, okay. That is frightening. Let's just get this out of the way. This was a horrible draw, by the way. I don't know that I mentioned that, but not a fan of that draw. With that said, this is a matchup where sort of Fire and Ice is probably the choice anyway. Maybe even Batterskull, honestly. Like if this Givik gets to untap, maybe. Or maybe I just chill with Quest on it. If Quest gets to go up to 5, if I survive to next turn and I can put Quest up to 5, maybe I just chill on this to like see what my opponent does. Okay, it's 10 power. It has trample. So let's not block. What you up to, opponent? You just nugging me for 10? Do you have like a bolt to finish me off? Maybe I should have paid more attention. Maybe that's fine. It still doesn't kill me. You need like Gut Shot. They do not have Gut Shot. I drew a Horizon Canopy though, so that sucks. I'm honestly tempted to pop this to potentially find 0-drop. I mean, realistically, I'm on 3 and they're playing this. I don't even necessarily get punished unless they draw like, unless they found another crash through I think. Because I don't think I'm winning by like drawing a 2-drop and taking a damage from my canopy to cast it. Yep, alright. Let's see. How badly do I need to get Batterskull here? Well, my Giver of Runes is dead. So that sucks. I am on it. So I can shoot this Kiln Fiend. You know what, let's go for it. Let's get the Sword of Fire and Ice. Kind of want the life gain off the Batterskull, but I can't, like... I can't guarantee that's even going to work, and like it's just going to trade with the Kiln Fiend. Or is this way I get to kill the Kiln Fiend? So let's attack with... How relevant is this one damage going to be? So I'm going to hit for 2, kill this, that'd be 3, so they go to 17. And I have like 5. I think it's better to just be a little bit safer here. Maybe that's why maybe I should have suited up a Memnite because of that, because it's got pro red anyway, so they're not going to be able to block. That was probably the line. Please die. Please. I mean, if they had a gut shot or like a whatever to keep it alive, they would have killed me with it last turn. Gingerbread's cool. That adds to my clock a little, which I'm pretty sure adds to my clock regardless. Like, I think it's the same as if I'd done this. They did have the crash through, so Batterskull potentially wasn't even enough. I need to dodge Lightning Bolt for like a few turns here. Okay, so they're going to Wild Slash him. Oh, they... Why did I think they could only hit creatures? Okay, they've got a Swift Spear. They can play it this turn. If they attack, I'm pretty okay with double blocking. Because again, they need to have... They're holding it? What do they have in their hand? Oh. So I'm on 1, so creatures kill me. Oh, I suppose they didn't play because they didn't want it to die to the sword trigger. It's a very fair opponent. So I'll leave back 2 blockers. Shoot your face. It's a bit late. How nice would that have been if I had 2 quests going? Ugh. My opponent's getting to dig pretty deep for a spell that deals any damage to me. Also, like, Crash Through is very scary as well, because this Swift Spear could become lethal. Okay. I'm going to go to combat first. So... Do I want to attack with the Gingerbread unblockable? So what do we got? We got 1, 2. This is going to hit something. I think I have to kill the Kiln Fiend to make sure I don't die to a Crash Through. Or I could just chump block. So It's 4, that's 5. The next turn's 5. But I could potentially get in with a Mem Knight as well. But I need to do that 2 turns in a row. So if I hit for 2, they go to 10. I think the fact that I'm dead to any bird spell means I actually want to hit them with this trigger. Which I think means that I want to get in with the gingerbread, because then if I had exactly like... No. Okay, I'm going to go to combat, hit with this. I'm going to leave the gingerbread back, so if I draw a land, I can threaten to gain life off the gingerbread. I need a land that isn't a Sunbaked Canyon right now. So... do I want to hit them or one of their creatures is still the question. So if I don't draw a land, I can block pretty well. They need to draw exactly Crash Through. But I mean, Crash Through is pretty lethal. The real question is, do I want to kill the Kiln Fiend or do I want to hit them? So if I hit them, they're on like a 3-turn clock. Let's hit them. I think if I don't draw lands to eat the gingerbread, then I'm very close to dead anyway. Okay, so play out the Sunbaked Canyon. Let's just do this now. If I draw a 0-drop, I'm just going to play it out. Give it runes ain't bad. So I've got 7, so like if I draw, if they attack with both, no, I have to block if they attack with both. Ooh, they're holding. I'm just in the same position as last turn, right? The Giver of Runes is a good draw, but I'd actually almost rather... No, I wouldn't rather play the gingerbread, actually. Let's see if we can find a land again. We'll try for that line again. So if I'd loaded up a Memnite, I could have actually been... I think I almost definitely hit for lethal here, so that was definitely a misplay, because I've hit with this like at least 3 times, so this is 4, and any of these getting through, especially with this as well, is definitely lethal, so I would have actually attacked with everyone and threatened lethal this turn. And like a lot of my decisions would have been easier. Oof. Still can't find that non-painful land to eat my gingerbread. Like even fetch lands here are really bad, which I've still got, 7 in the deck. So they're the same thing, just this has haste, so I'm just going to play out the Giver, because next turn I can threaten lethal, because this will be a hasty thing. Please don't draw a burn spell. Oh, that's even worse. They get another chance. I suppose it's the same, right? They just have better odds on this draw. Rough. Very rough. Okay. Just got edged out there. Let's see what we've got here. I want to bring this in. I don't know if I want to necessarily cut this. Like, I actually probably want to cut a Gentleman, because I think Sword of Fire and Ice does about the same, because we're not really blowing up lands. Although with that said, they can prowess to protect from dying to this. Canonist seems really good. Selfless Savior seems pretty good. Giant Killer seems fine too, honestly. Let's see. Question is if I want to cut a Gentleman or if I want to cut Sword of Fire and Ice. So I'm pretty up the Stoneforge because of Batterskull. So I'm pretty okay with cutting 2 Skyfishes to bring these Canonists. These guys, I don't think the game's going to go long enough for Thraben Inspector to be relevant, so I'll cut them for the 1-drops. And yeah, now it's just a question of what is this coming in for? Because like this does the kind of killing my opponent quickly part of our Argentum Armor, and this does the removal part of our Argentum Armor. And like Batterskull's pretty good. Yeah, because like that makes all 3 of these kind of still okay to draw. Like especially by the Stoneforge. Okay, this hand. Let's see. I actually like Giant Killer's ability to tap down a creature after they try and pump a bunch of spells into it. Like it's not a bad turn 1 play. I'm gonna keep. This is an interesting hand. I think because of what everything else is going on, like with the Stoneforge and the Canonist and stuff, I'm just going to play the Giant Killer out now. I'm not going to hold up Chop Down. I don't want to play the Memnite because I want to be able to Martyr's Soul next turn, I think. Well, I want to Stoneforge next turn, so maybe I should play the Memnite. So if I Stoneforge next turn... No, if I Stoneforge next turn, I can Memnite and Martyr's Soul, so... I think I'm okay with giving them less things to kill. Well, this is good. We've hit lands. And the good thing is in this matchup, none of the stuff we're boarding in is in either of our splash colors. So that's cool. I should have played the Memnite first. This is a small thing, but there's a chance that in response to Memnite they kill the Stoneforge for whatever reason. Now's the question. Because I've got the land, the Batterskull's it's almost tempting to ignore this and go for the Sword of War and Peace for the life gain, even though I am going to go empty-handed. There's also the option of getting one of these so that the Stoneforge is less scary, but Batterskull just has the biggest upside. Is that true? No, Sword of War and Peace I think is the go. Please let this resolve. Okay. Not the most impressive Martyr's Soul. He's not a 5/4, but getting all the stuff down before the Canonist comes down is somewhat important. Depending on what happens next time, I might even fetch up a tapped shock land just to make sure that there's more lands that I can draw that come in untapped without being painful. I'm going to hold up Giant Killer and Stoneforge activations here. I am going to send in the Martyr's Soul. I'm going to hold this Memnite. Oh, if I'm tapping down the Kiln Fiend, they don't have a follow-up creature. Yeah, let's just play the Memnite. Like, if I'm drawing a quest, I'm not exactly getting it off anytime soon anyway. Get in for 3. I am running long clock here, so I am going to try and speed it up now. Swifty, sure. Lava spike, sure. Okay. Let's just tap you down there, buddy. I will happily throw away a Memnite. I'll get a green. I feel like that's more threatening to gain life. I don't know. Another Stone Forge. Kind of wanted to land there, so I could activate Stone Forge, put the Sword of War and Peace in play and equip. He's got 3 cards in hand. They got a couple of mounts up there to light up the stage. This might even just be a good turn for Canonist, honestly. It's really tough because I've got a bunch of 2-mana plays, so I can only do one of them. You know what? Let's hold the line. Because I have a bunch of 2-mana plays. All of these things are still good next turn. Would have been nice if I could play this and get a Battle Skull and hold up activation, but I can potentially do that next turn. If I play at the Canonist, if they have a removal spell, I'm kind of in trouble, so I was going to say they can't really threaten to do a lot, but they can if they can kill the Canonist. I'm just going to keep getting him with this Martyr's Soul. The Martyr's Soul can threaten to trade with the Kiln Fiend, but I think I'm okay with that. Yeah. We're running a long clock, so I think I just have to stick to this giant killer game plan. Frick. I forgot to do it. This is fine. Let's... block the Kiln Fiend. I could potentially double block here, but I don't really want to. I could potentially throw the Giant Killer here as well, rather than tapping down the Kiln Fiend every time I can trade with it. I like that. Like, if they have a removal, they spend it on if they have a burn spell and they spend it on one of these 2 blockers, I think I'm okay with that as well. Instead of throwing it at me. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. Yeah, that's real bad. Okay. Do you have other spells, opponent? You've got to have other spells. Oh, Team of Battle Rage. Woof. Yeah, it's coming at me. It's pretty clearly coming at me. Oh, I got something else. I'm super dead. Yep. Alright, I look forward to all your comments of how the fuck I was meant to win that. I mean, tapping down the Kiln Fiend's a pretty good start, isn't it? Like, I left up the giant kill for that reason. That's fine. We're currently 1-1. Join us shortly for match number 3. Here we go. We have an opponent for match number 3. I would love to play first. This hand is a mulligan. If I had a second land, I would probably keep based on the strength of the Stone Forge. But no quest, no second land. That's an easy mulligan. This is an easy keep. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to keep this because we need to draw literally like any 1 drop is good, any 0 drop is good, 2 drops are fine, lands are fine, Martyr Soul's really good. Like for a 5 card hand, we can't really ask for much more than this. Okay, this is going to be another spell heavy opponent. So we'll play the Hawk. I probably should have attacked with the Memnite first and offered the trade that they definitely wouldn't take, whereas now they might actually take it. But it's for a point of damage, so I think I'm fine with just missing that point of damage. Because now I'm honestly worried about them trading, or even having a spell, honestly. And then being able to like remove all of my things and make this quest real stinky. Swift Spear, sure. Okay, that's, yeah, hitting the Glinthawk, sure. So this quest can get a Batterskull next turn. We ain't blocking. Or I get a Gentum Armor and start blowing up lands? Or I get a Gentum Armor and start blowing up creatures? Or I get Sword of Fire and Ice and start blowing up creatures? I think I get Sword of Fire and Ice and start blowing up creatures. I think I like this the most. We got punished for not putting on the 3-power thing before. Yeah. So we are going to do the riskier play here of going for the Swift Spear. But I feel like if they had a 0-mana spell, they probably would have tried to get more damage in last turn. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe they are just going to try for 1 giant turn. Turns out it's fine. We are going to take a damage here to play out the Giver of Runes. Feels like they're going to be able to kill at least one of my givers, so putting 2 into play seems beneficial. Season Pyro, sure. So I assume they're not attacking this turn then, right? Yeah, they just concede to that. I think they were just digging to see what they could get. Alright, so the sideboarding's probably roughly the same. I don't know how good Giant Killer seems in this matchup, but like that's me thinking that the giant killing part's not the relevant, you know, like the chop down. But the creature body's probably better than a Thraben Inspector. Canonist's better than Skyfishes here as well, I believe. And it's just a question of the Sword of War and Peace again. I think as the Blitzclaw Wit, I like Fire and Ice a little better than I did in the last matchup. And a Gentum Armor still doesn't feel like it's... Like, it feels like it's just a more risky version of either of these effects, so... Let's go with that. Okay. Okay. Ooh. The second quest is honestly kind of bad. The sword's kind of bad when you want land. The canonist, like the Glinthawk's even bad because it's going to try and bounce the canonist, which I kind of just want the canonist. So it's going to have to be a mull. This hand's good. I can keep this. Question of what to bottom. Like the Glenhawk, the Memnite, this isn't their kind of hand, but like I could see keeping this just to be able to play this Glenhawk out pretty quick. Or even just this can just be an extra body to put into play. Well, the Gingerbread gains life, so I definitely want to keep that. The Giver Runes is really good. The Giant Killer is pretty good. Like, I want both lands. Maybe it's just the Memnite. Maybe the Glenhawk can just... No, that's not right. That just means it's the Glenhawk. Well, that's the biggest punish for putting that Glenhawk on the bottom. But with that said, we've got 2 lands and 5 creatures, so... So any creature we draw is good at this point. The quest might be a little slow, but if it's a slow quest, then it's just a Batterskull, so... They're just passing, okay. So let's play out the Memnite, the least threatening. For what it's worth, that Batterskull was an insane draw. Play out the... I should have played the Giant Killer. Same thing I said last match. This is something they're going to want to kill, so I should play it last, because like they're going to see this on the side and go, well, yeah, I don't care about this Giant Killer. I'll just bolt this Giver of Runes right now. There's no real upside to them normally to them doing it now, so I can see why they wouldn't. But they are going to get a little punished by the fact that I have Martyr Soul. So next time I get to cast Gingerbread, we've got an active quest. The sad thing is sort of War and Peace is not good with an empty hand. I do have a Horizon Canopy that I can draw from. Okay, this is not my Giver. That's a reason to leave up 2 mana. I can see that. We've taken out a Gentum Armor, so it is Batterskull, Sword of Fire and Ice, and Sword of War and Peace. Sure, opponent. They've got all the removal spells here. They've got a Firebolt. Do they have removal for this Memnite too? They don't, okay. Let's play out Gingerbread. So this would actually be a time where I would be happy to get a Gentum Armor, because my opponent has no board state. I could see getting the... Oh, they're just going to empty their hand, so the War and Peace doesn't look tempting. I think it's got to be the Fire and Ice. Just kind of dull, right? Like we bring in all these options and it just ends up being the Fire and Ice. If somehow they have... Oh. I was about to say if they somehow have double removal, then it's just the Batterskull. So they're going to lava it up my Gingerbread now, aren't they? Sure. This is a reason I'm happy to have Batterskull. I don't know that they have very, like, especially because they've used up their Flame Slash, I don't know that they have very clean ways to deal with this. And watch as they like abrade my Batterskull or something, or just have like... Oh. I mean, they've got nothing going on though. That's the saving grace, is that they're doing nothing. I think I'm desperate enough to crack this here. Okay. Do you have another removal spell, opponent? I'm not liking that I'm taking damage there, but I think it's fine. This sucks. If they've just got everything. That's kind of rough. So now they've got a Bone Crusher and a Mystery card, and we've got nothing. And our top decks are honestly a little worse than theirs. That's not bad. This Bone Crush is just going to get in. Maybe I probably should have just attacked because I'm not blocking. Lavadoing my, or stomping my Gingerbread even is free. Like they've just, oh my. Well, our opponent kept a hand that didn't do anything to progress their game plan, but they were able to stop mine really efficiently, and now they're just chaining Bone Crushers and making it look easy. Yep, I have no blockers. Yep, that's game. Okay, I think I liked how we sideboarded, so we'll just run it back. Would love to play first. Come on, show us something good. Whew. So we've got Quest, we've got a Self Save, we've got a Martyr Soul, we've got a Canonist. This hand hinges pretty heavily on finding like lands. So if we're on Quest, so until we find a land, we play like a Stoneforge, get a Batterskull. Oh, that's kind of cute. They have a companion. This hand relies so heavily on drawing a land, and we know that our Quest isn't even as good as we would like to. So I actually like the Fair Stoneforge hands more, so I think we can mulligan. I don't hate this. Like, this is a good start, and I honestly want to keep all this and just bottom this Ornithopter. Maybe I keep the Ornithopter. I think I'll keep the Ornithopter and ditch this Sunbaked Canyon, but otherwise I like this. Okay, we'll start with Giver of Runes. We'll hold the Ornithopter. If I top deck to Quest, I might actually shift gears here and start trying to get a Quest going. Yep, Firebolt kills my Giver. Okay, I drew a land, so that bottoming that land was really good for us. So we're going to get a basic here. Again, we didn't bring in Veil of Summer or Alpine Moon, so we have no need for our red or green mana. We're just going to get the Batterskull here because we've got the Sword of Fire and Ice in hand. So that makes it a pretty easy choice. Not that keeping the hand of the Sword was that good, but it's fine. Yep, killing my Stoneforge, sure. Maybe that's not a bad draw. So we'll play out the Sword, we'll play out two different creatures that could potentially wear it. So if they draw a land, they have to like be able to remove both of these. They potentially remove them both during their own turn like they've been doing. I mean, Giver and Stoneforge they can't leave me on tap with, so that's fair enough that they've been removing them at sorcery speed. Okay. So I feel like they're almost definitely holding up a removal spell here for whatever I target with the Sword of Fire and Ice, but I don't really get a choice in the matter anyway. So I'll make them spend a not Lava Dart. Or I'll make them spend both sides of a Lava Dart, I guess. Yeah, okay. Cast a new Ornithopter. Pass to our opponent. And see if we get to equip this turn. They've still got 4 cards in hand, and they've had so many things that just really punish us. I am not going to block opponent. Deal as much damage as you want. Light at the stage. I actually don't hate seeing that. They don't have a land. Ooh. But they get to cast Shattering Spree next turn. Not ideal. Not ideal. So I'm going to put it on the Ornithopter. Maybe... No, I'm going to put on the Memnite. Let's deal a little more damage. They have no Lava Darts in bins, so I'm going to kill the Soulscar Mage here. Ooh, Glinthawk. That's pretty good. You're a sorcery? I don't think there's any benefit to bouncing this sword though. But I will play this Glinthawk and bounce this Ornithopter and replay this Ornithopter. Like, they're going to kill my sword, which really is not great for us, but we've still got some amount of power in play. Okay, so they're probably going to Flame Slash Glinthawk and Shattering Spree the sword. If I had to guess. They could have honestly even just like Shattering Spreed to destroy 2 of my artifacts there. Okay, let's do this. That's this. Play this. Play this. Kind of sad I haven't drawn more lands to start threatening to play this Batterskull. I kind of like how my opponent's deck shifted post board, so now they're playing the control deck, which I don't know that they need to, but it's kind of cool that they can, and like they get to use Bone Crusher Giant as removal spell / win condition. Maybe I should have just held up Chop Down. Because now I really want to play this Canonist out. I think I still play the Canonist out. The Ornithopter's on chump blocking duty for that Bone Crusher, I'm pretty sure. And then every turn after I can start tapping down the Bone Crusher. And then I can start getting in with the Canonist as well. Be interested to see what they have in hand, because I think they've been missing land drops and they chose to play at the Bone Crusher last turn. They're choosing to get in, that's fair enough. They will not block. Okay, bolt the Canonist. Light up the stage, sure. Ooh, Season Pyro is good, they're going to get to play that next turn. Another light at the stage. Another Bone Crusher in that last stage. Bone Crusher is really good in this matchup, I think. Just the value is so nice. You're late. So... just getting in. Also, I didn't chump block with my Ornithopter, even though I said I would. I don't know that not chump blocking was correct, or if chump blocking was correct. I just totally forgot to do it. Maybe if I draw more Glinthawks, this Ornithopter will be important. I don't know. So they're going to stomp. They're probably going to play a land and play at this Season Pyro. Just get full value out of their 2 light up the stages. Oh, sorry, that's me. Lava Dart and Mountain. Okay, you chill out. My giant killer is making a giant go sleepy time. It's pretty good, especially with Quest in play. I will return Ornithopter. I will play Ornithopter. Now I will do these things. I actually forgot I had a Quest in play when I drew that Glinthawk. I thought it was just, 2-power dude. But now Skyfishers and Glinthawks are all good draws. Although they still need to get me Sword of War and Peace, which is becoming less and less valuable. Okay. So one of their draws has been a land, whether it's the 2 draws from the Seas of Pyro or the 1 draw for their turn. Yet again, he can go sleepy time. Season Pyro's hacking. I kind of don't want to put that in the bin because then they'll just get 2 elementals out of it. But I can double block here. But then if they have any burn spell, I'm in trouble. I think I'm okay with just taking this. Next turn I might be more inclined to block with Ornithopter. But they're playing at the... Yeah, they're going to play the Bone Crusher here. Well, Giver of Runes was a not awful draw. Am I attacking here? So this taps down this. This can block here. This can block here. I suppose this can block here. I can take that 1, I think. Get in with Glinthawk. Yeah, I think I'm happy to just get in with the Glinthawk. Puts them to 8, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I'm not threatening lethal, but it... Okay. I was going to say it means that if I draw right, this quest could be threatening lethal. I think I have to... excuse me. I have to block the 2 Bone Crushers. Wasn't a huge fan of how that turn ended up. Stop my Giver, sure. Play out the Bone Crusher, sure. I am very, very close to dead. And I am dead. Okay. 2 losses to mono red deck, so that's something we potentially have to consider. So we are currently 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get the last 2 to end on a positive note. Join us shortly for match number 4. Alright, we found an opponent for match number 4. Get it underway, see if we win the die roll again. We finally lost the die roll there. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Woof. Certainly seeing some hands today. They're keeping their 7. We're going to 5. I'm honestly going to 4 here. This hand doesn't do anything. Sure. Bottom that. Bottom that. Bottom that. Keep these 4. So I I'm honestly gonna really tempted to scoop here as soon as we see anything from our opponent, so they get no sideboarding information and we do. Okay, that's enough for me to consider. I don't want my opponent to see literally anything here. I'm gonna bring in Veil of Summers. We're gonna. So we don't know necessarily what our opponent was up to. We know that they. He's polluted Delta to get Water Grave, right? And they tried to Thought Seize me, so it's likely that Death Shadow. Which even if they're Jund, like all of these cards are good. Not sure about the choice of swords. I'm tempted to bring in Sinew and Steel anyway for Pro Black. But it's likely they have like Colligan's Command anyway. But is Sword of Fire and Ice any good? I think I'm happy to just like make this little hedge. So, given they're likely a Death Shadow style deck, so Death Shadow vs Jund. I think in either of those matchups I like one up to more than Memnight, so I'll cut two of these to bring in the two Veils, and I think I'll just cut the playset of Glinthawks here. We'll just morph out of the quest deck a little and go into more of a Stoneforge deck. I think I'll leave Soulglade Land out for now, but I'll keep an eye on it and see if it's better than one of the Ginger Brutes. I just want to keep my creature count high, especially cutting Glinthawks and stuff, to make sure that if I do go for quest, I can potentially still get quest online. Okay, so this is a good hand we're going to keep. It's got the Stoneforge. It's got a turn 1 Selfless Savior to lead into it. Play at the Memnite. There's honestly not much point holding the Memnite because they have hand hate. I mean, if they hand hate, they're going to take the Stoneforge, but it's kind of whatever. Mishra's Balls. They definitely look like they're a Death Shadow deck. Which if I probably should have brought in the Soulglade Land anyway in case they were Jund, but I was leaning towards them being Death Shadow, so I don't know. Depending on what kind of Death Shadow they're up to, I don't know whether Soulglade Land's good. Like, they haven't shown any Lurrus Companions. They can't because they have Street Wraith. This could just be a classic style. Maybe that's why there are bulbs. Maybe there's Lurrus somewhere in their deck. Alright, they're just passing back to us. That's good. They get to draw 2 cards off their baubles. Considering you're just drawing a card opponent, or in my upkeep, just let your triggers resolve. Draw your cards. Give me my turn. Alright. Let's play out the Stoneforge. Do I want to get the Temple Gardens for in case I draw a Veil of Summer? I don't think so. I could potentially get a tapped one next. No, I'm probably playing just let's just do it. Stoneforge. Now this is going to get the Batterskull. So they're probably considering killing my Selfless Savior right now. They've chosen not to. Because I have Selfless Savior, I'm leaning towards the Batterskull, especially because this Sinew and Steel, I'm kind of not digging. Like, it's just the pro push sword. Which is maybe a reason that light and shadow should be the go-to. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I just tanked there on literally nothing. Let's go to combat and attack for 2. Don't yield through the turn, you dumbass. You want to be able to use Selfless Savior to protect your Stoneforge. Alright, they're doing something. You got it. F6 value, I would have assumed, but it appears not. Okay. I'll do the onboard trick. So I assume they're untapping and throwing another removal spell at it. Which now we get to F6. Boo. Okay. Kind of really digging the idea of drawing a bunch of cards here, so let's do this. Let's do this. Bounce this so I can get another clue off it later. And yield through the turn. We will not attack. Yeah, I ain't blocking. This Memnite can chump block later when this death shows a little bit bigger. I think next turn is when it's going to be chump blocking, but you know, is it me? Oh no, another one. I mean, I'm gonna play it. Oh. Sure. Play this. So I can attack with Skyfisher, put them down to 6. And then no, if they put themselves lower, but even putting them to 6 makes these 7/7s, which I'm not a fan of. So they can put it up to an 8/8 right now. But like, why am I holding on to this? You know, I'm gonna draw and just see what I can see. See if this helps me in my decisions. Okay, so I'm gonna get to play the Batterskull next turn. Okay. So I'm putting myself dead to Street Wraith, Tarfire. I'm dead to Battle Rage either way. Street Wraith, Tarfire. Like Bolt, I guess. Think it's what I gotta do though. Yeah, cool, they didn't even crack their fetch land. Okay, so here's the test. See if our Batterskull resolves. See if they have a stub for this. The Batterskull does resolve. Okay. So I'm attacking with the Skyfisher now because if they have a removal spell for either of my other creatures, I think I'm in a lot of trouble anyway. Woof. Okay. Hopefully that's going after the Skyfisher. Yeah, that's not great. I'm just dead to that because my opponent has 2 lethal attackers. Yep. Well done, opponent. So that was match number 4 because we scooped game 1 very quick. So good game's a good game, I guess. We are currently 1-3. Let's see if we can salvage something in match number 5. Join us shortly. Here we go. Sitting at 1-3. Match number 5. We lost the die roll. Doesn't matter. We've been losing all day, even winning the die roll. But let's see if we can salvage a 2-3 record here. Ooh. The old crappy quest hand, huh? Well, I'm going to keep because we have a canopy land and we have a quest. And that is good enough for me. Well, drawing that land kind of sucked. Go on spell pieces. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Show me what kind of blue deck you are, opponent. I'm expecting Uro. I'm expecting 2 things. To see an Uro at some point in this game and to be utterly miserable at some point in this game. Those 2 things might be connected. What? What? This is a little something. Interesting. Ooh. So that's 3 creatures, so we need to draw 2 more over the course of this game to be able to get quest online. Start with the giver because you know they want to counter that in some way, shape or form. What's the bet they're holding a remand or something dumb? A remand would have been lovely. Remand this. Oh. Well, sure. Didn't really need it, but I'll take it. So good news is we're going to get to start playing out this Sword of Fire and Ice, like drawing cards here and stuff real soon. Oh, they're just going to tap out for an Uro? Please. Please. Don't be a coward. They were going to do it. You saw they were going to do it. Okay. Seeing if I can find 0 drop. That was close. What? What are you doing, opponent? What have you got? Mana leak? Sure. Still cast it. So we've held it to the Gingerbread because I honestly think by play it next turn, they're probably gonna counter it and not even question it. So then I might get to resolve this Sword of Fire and Ice. Oh, they're tapping out for right now. Come on. No. You bastard. You absolute bastard. Well, that was uncalled for. That's what they were thinking of tapping out for, and they've decided to let me play into it a bit more, which is fair enough. Let's just pay a bunch of life. Why not? Get our fancy new temple garden. Play our quest. Are they going to force a negation this? That's what I thought. Well, they don't force a negation that either. Let's finish off the ferry. Give them smack. So if I hadn't cracked my canyon, I could have played and equipped the sword this turn. But next turn I can try and equip it twice. Not that it matters. They probably have parts, so they're probably just going to try and... Weird. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. We're going to leave this back just in case they have Snapcaster, Spell Queller, something. This is going to be a path. This is going to be a fielder, a cryptic. Sure. Oh, we're gonna get 2 quests online, buddy. Oh, always yield. Yes, I don't know what just happened with all that. Yes. Yes, all the time. I'm not feeling terrible about where we're sitting now. I mean, my opponent's got 5 cards in hand, which is scary, and they missed, I think, some number of land. I don't even know. No, they turned 6, so they haven't missed any land drops yet, so they could have a bunch of lands in hand. But they've got Yace the Mind Sculptor. What's he up to? Brainstorming? Yep. I don't think there's any reason that I'm not yielding through my opponent's turn. Okay, Brainstorm done. Land in play. What do we got? Huh. I'm gonna go to combat first and make my opponent do things. Attack them. Attack them and attack Jace. So we'll try and finish off Jace with this Sword of Fire and Ice trigger if we get there. My opponent's probably found a path by now. Yep. Yep. We'll get our last basic. I mean, Jace is still getting domed for 1, so that's fine. I think let's play the Stone Forge. We'll grab the Batter Skull. I think it's better doing this than like waiting for a quest to do it. And we'll put the Battle Skull in the Sword of Fire and Ice in the Stone Forge. Force them to do a thing if they have a thing to do. They're just getting some F6 value by the look of it. Play this out. Pass to my opponent. This probably wasn't correct because like I want to activate this to put the Battle Skull into play. So I'm probably going to have to move this somewhere anyway. That's going to get like cryptic, right? That's gross. And then they're going to brainstorm and draw it. And they have a loop, right? Because they have Jace, Mystic Sanctuary, and Cryptic. Let's see if they Cryptic bounce Sanctuary. If they do, I'm pretty happy to concede at this point because that's one of the Cryptic Mystic Sanctuary loops, I believe. You just need a way to draw. We do have these, but like these do nothing if my opponent's just going to Cryptic tap me every turn. They're drawing a card? Okay. Oh, I should have put the Battle Skull into play. Whatever. Clean Hawk. Yes, return Gingerbrute, play Gingerbrute. Yeah, so I think they did that to like maybe make me misplay not play the Battle Skull or maybe force me to do it immediately. I don't know, but that was kind of the perfect draw because it means that this Gingerbrute potentially gets to get in with the sword now. Because I got to bounce it and now it's untapped. Please no path, please no path. Attack them, because if I get in the sword trigger is going to kill the Jace. No, don't have a thing. Okay, that's not a thing. Please don't have a path now. Whew, okay, so that's step one. So we're going to play at this Stoneforge. Both our quests are active now. We're going to decline the Stoneforge and pretend we've run out of equipment. Little does our opponent know there's an Argentum armor coming. I'm kind of getting horror flashbacks from last week's game against the Bant deck. This could even be the same opponent. Wouldn't that be crazy? It's a different deck, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure our opponent last week wasn't running this. Or are you just gonna bring back... Oh, you can't bring back Hero. You don't have another green. Oh, piss off with your fairy. I shouldn't be yielding through the turn. I have just learned. This one. I would like to equip it to... Raven Inspector. I would like to put this on my ginger brute. How we look at opponent? Yes! Alright, got there in game one. Whew. That was good. I like that. So, Veil Summons come in because they are a blue deck. Sorry, Let comes in because they are an Uwu deck. Giant Killer comes in to also take down a row. They probably have sweepers, so that's probably a consideration. Containment Priest doesn't do anything. Candace doesn't do anything. These don't do anything. I'm going to bring in War and Peace as pro path. So, because they are blue-white, they have Uros, so I think the ground blockers in Memnite are less tempting. So again, whenever we bring in Veils, we cut some number of these. Soulguide Lantern comes in for a Ginger Brute. Giant Killers and Selfless Saviors. Yeah, I think it's just got to be Glinthawks there. And now the Sword of War and Peace. It's probably for the Fire and Ice. So there's a few considerations. Our Gentleman we want to keep for the fast quest hand still, even though we're cutting the Glinthawks. Battleskull we would keep the Stoneforge. To draw a Fire and Ice is nice, but the protection doesn't do a lot. I suppose we can block a rose. Maybe we do just want an extra sword in the deck for the matchup. I could see cutting a Martyr's Soul, to be honest. Or even like another thing down here somewhere. Let's cut Martyr's Soul. Just because it's potentially more expensive. We have less explosive creature hands now, so the last Martyr's Soul might not be as great. Not loving the Ornithopter, but the two Stoneforges are really, really nice. So I'm going to keep. This is a real good draw. So we're going to grab our Temple Garden here. Because we have brought in Veil. I know we did see Field of Ruin game 1. But it's even a small thing that we need this green, so if our opponent wastes mana and time Field of Ruining us in what should be a very aggressive matchup, I think we'll accept that. Also, the other thing is, because they have paths, I actually want to leave base schematic, which I just realized seeing that. So we'll grab the Sacred Fountain as well, which also potentially muddles their decision. You know, they don't necessarily know which one of these two is more important. Don't yield through the turn, you dumbass. We're grabbing Battleskull because we have another Stoneforge. I have Giver Runes up to activate, so I do not want to yield through the turn. I also do not want to attack. Look at us already on 14. Watch our opponent just play an error out like super quick and start smacking us. Ooh-wee. Okay, that's probably going to bounce the Giver. I was probably going to uptick. It's bouncing the Giver. So if you let this resolve, I'm just going to give... whatever, pro white. Doesn't make any difference. Ooh. Do I want to kill that Teferi? I kind of really want to kill that Teferi. So... think what I'm going to do, I'm going to play out this giver again. I'm going to give him as little information as possible. I'm going to play out the Thraben Inspector. This way he gets hold up Veil. There's honestly no reason to play this Ornithopter yet. I'd rather hold it in case I draw a quest. Goodbye to Fairy. I don't know that there's any point to holding up Veil now that I think about it. Suppose they play another Teferi. Or if they try and bounce something with Yace. Okay. That worked out well. So my creatures gain hexproof from blue and black. This is a blue thing trying to target my thing that has hexproof from blue. Well, that worked out well. That's a good draw. So I want to put the Batterskull into play. Do I want to put the Batterskull? That's the question, right? Maybe I'm happy just like putting the Skyfisher and Selfless Savior into play. I don't hate that. Let's play the Memnite. Maybe it's the Stone. It's probably the Stoneforge actually, not the Skyfish. I shouldn't have played the Memnite. Yeah. I'll grab Sword of War and Peace. That's going to be pretty, like, not game ending, but it's going to put me pretty far ahead. I'll just leave up Giver. It's unfortunate that Stoneforge had to go on the aggressive so much, but we've had plenty of things to play rather than dropping the Batterskull in, so I'm not too upset about it. It's going to be like a sweeper. Ooh. So they're going to like draw a card off this and I'm going to kill this now? Yeah. Can I draw a land, please? Land? Land. 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 Hey, that's a land. Put this into play. Put on the Thraben Inspector, I guess. Huh. Yep, our opponent was happy to call it there. Okay. So we managed to get that last match in there. Got 50 play points for our troubles. Join us shortly for the post-league wrap-up. Alright, so we managed to finish that up with a 2-win, 3-loss record. Not ideal. It's still kind of rough the way that haven't been able to get positive results with this deck yet. I still believe, I think we'll keep trying and see where we can get. So we beat Tron round 1, which was honestly fantastic. That's the concerning thing almost though, is that's what I've always felt is one of our worst matchups, and that was the matchup that we won. Then we lost to Mono Red Prowess, another Mono Red Prowess that had like Blister Coil weirds in it. So more of a blitz deck, I guess, but it turned into a really nice like Mono Red control post board, and I was very impressed by that. Then we lost to Grixis Shadow. That was a little unlucky because we mulled to Oblivion and just conceded to a Thoughtseize to give them no information for boarding. But then we beat Band Control, so Not unhappy about that overall. Losing to the mono red decks has kind of highlighted the fact that our mana base is very painful. Not that we necessarily lost to our mana base there. I don't think we particularly lost because it wasn't like we were tapping a Sunbake Canyon and a Horizon Canopy for the entire game or anything, or that we fetched up a Shock Land, or that we fetched too much necessarily. It was maybe a bit of bad luck too. Gingerbread is some life gain we have. We have the Batterskull, and we just never really got in positions where we could gain life off the Batterskull, or potentially chose not to. They always had removal for our givers. I think I'll talk about the sideboard in a sec, but we have 3 pro red swords, and we didn't we brought in this for the life gain, and I don't think it was what I needed it to be in that matchup. So we'll come back to that. For Tron, Alpine Moon, I think I like the red splash for Alpine Moon. I don't think the issues with the deck are necessarily in the splashes. Maybe we kind of want the blue splash back. But that doesn't really help us in the matches we lost to. Grixis Shadow is a matchup that we're not really even when we had Mystical Dispute, we're not really leaning into it there. We're probably not going for Ensoul Artifacts in that matchup. The blue doesn't really change anything there. We just kind of need different stuff. Also, for what it's worth, Martyr Soul was good. I don't think there were any scenarios where I would have preferred a Toolcraft Exemplar. I think the Martyr Soul comes out easier and is roughly the same size creature, so the fact that it comes out easier is just what we want for the quest for the Holy Relic. Main deck equipment was good. All these spells are kind of... The main deck spells I'm pretty happy with. Like I said, this is the flexible slot, and potentially I could add a 4th one or something. These Gingerbreads potentially aren't necessary, but Gingerbreads continue to impress. And again, the matches we lost, Gingerbread is good in. Potentially, we just want to run less fetches, but with that said, we really need to be able to hit these post-board. The Horizon lands were honestly fine. I've been running 3 Horizon Canopy most of the time. I've been running this deck since I've started playing on Moto. So we've gone up by 1. It hasn't really changed much. We have gone up fetch lands, but it was more so that we couldn't compete with the boards in those red matchups. The Veil Summers proved to be good. Didn't see them against Death Show, so that didn't really matter, but they were good against Bant Control. Again, I like the Alpine Moons. I think they're kind of the kind of clean solution that I want for the Tron matchup. It's not ideal because it's not a creature, it's not an artifact, so it doesn't fit in with the rest of what we're doing, but we can't run Damping Sphere because we're casting too many spells, and we can't run Makes the Moon because it only stops them once I get to 3 mana and get to cast it, which that's kind of still feeding into the fact that our turn 3 quest is not fast enough necessarily, because they can assemble Tron and then resolving a Khan, or in all his dust as we saw, can be very game breaking. Soulguide Lantern only brought in for the last match, but I still really like this slot. Selfless Saviors felt pretty good. I think we won that last game because of the combination of this and Giver runes, just being able to sideboard into essentially more copies of Giver. It's actually better than Giver in some scenarios, but worse in a lot. So I like the combination. Canonist should have been good in the prowess matchups, honestly. If I could get a Giver to untap with a Giver and play a Canonist, I'd be pretty happy. Even just drawing lands and being able to constantly cast threats like Canonists and Stoneforgers and stuff would be nice, but I think I just miss lands a little some of those matchups. Giant Killer, I think there was a misplay where I should have held up Chop Down because I had a bunch of stuff to play anyway, and the tap down wasn't really good. It was just going to keep tapping down a Bone Crusher, which when I probably should have just chopped down the Bone Crusher, and then I get to cast the Giant Killer after. Also, one of my biggest misplays I think I should have beaten Mono Red Prowess if I'd suited up a Memnite over an Ornithopter. That was just a small thing, and I just didn't even think about the fact that it could be relevant, and I just made a mistake there. So for future reference, that point of damage mattered because it had the thing I put the sword on had pro red, and I wasn't exactly going to block with my Memnite and trade with any of their creatures, so it's a chump block anyway, so I might as well go on the Ornithopter, and it would still be unblockable because of the pro red. Containment Breeze kind of didn't show up, but we're okay with that. Where we're not running the Containment Priest to bring them in every time. We're running it because the matchups where we need to bring it in are really important. So these, I'm still not, like, we didn't verse Jund or anything, so we didn't really see this come up. The one matchup where it did come up was against Death Shadow, and I actually was hesitant to bring it in because its effects don't do anything in that matchup. And the sort of War and Peace, the matchups where I want it, like Tron, by the point I can get it, it won't deal as much damage as Gentle Armor anyway, and I always need to break up Tron. And then other matchups, by the time it comes out, like, I bring it in against the Prowess decks, they're almost empty-handed, I'm almost empty-handed, so I'm dealing no damage and gaining no life with its triggered abilities. So sorry, I'm just looking at the wrong thing here. Let's look at our swords. I'll just bring them all in here. This is main deck, so we'll just leave that alone. We should have one more. Body and Mind. Let's have a quick... Oh, it's because War and Peace is already in here, dummy. Okay. So, Body and Mind, the colours are pretty irrelevant as far as removal goes. As far as not being able to be blocked, they're okay. The issue I have with it is that the 2/2 Wolf doesn't matter because we're flooding the board with creatures anyway, and the milling our opponent for 10 cards doesn't matter because in Modern, everyone uses the graveyard and it's a good thing for most people. Also, for what it's worth, let me just make some room here. Get over there as well. I've said all along I want a pro path and a pro push sword. That's basically where I'm leaning, because main deck I kind of hope that Giver's enough. Like, the hedge is that I'm running Givers and that these effects are all really good, but post board I kind of lean a little more into it and try and get protection from the two most important removal spells. So these are our other options. So Truth and Justice, you can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, then Proliferate. So Proliferate doesn't do much for us. It does put another counter on Quest, which is interesting. I don't know that it's good. It can put another counter on Martyr Soul if I happen to get it onto the battlefield without having any lands tapped, which isn't often the case except the slower matchups. But those are like the path matchups where I would be bringing that sword, so potentially interesting. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything except for the +1 counter that it's placing as well, which I don't believe is doing a lot. It could be interesting to like start loading up a Gingerbread or something, but again, these are matchups where I'm like probably trimming some number of Gingerbread, so yeah. And the pro blue doesn't do a lot for us. Like in that last matchup, this would have been a great sword, pro path and pro their planeswalkers, but it's only Jason the Mind Sculptor that's a non-white planeswalker that we're scared of, to my memory. So that's a consideration. Feast and Famine. The upside of this is it's got, so it's obviously pro push sword. It's got the black side. Makes them discard 9 on top of my lands. Those are both very powerful effects. The discard's good in the mid-range matchups because it kind of makes break even, but they normally have Liliana. Like, it's normally like a Jund style, so they're kind of getting themselves empty-handed, so I don't know, and they're like willing to get empty-handed because their top deck is so good, so I don't know how powerful that is. And the untapable lands, like, I have such a low land count and I often don't need, there are times where I am craving my mana, but it's normally because there are times where I can't get a sword into play. So once I've got a sword into play, I don't think I really have mana issues that much that I kind of need this effect. I could be wrong. Like, this is one of the better swords in Modern, and I have run it before and enjoyed it, so this could be what we want to go back to, especially, like I said, the pro green being the other side of it is very nice, especially for like the Titan matchups and, you know, the fair creature matchups. So those options. The last option is Light and Shadow, which is pro push and pro path. So there's a few things I want to look at here with this. Comparing it to Sword of War and Peace as a pro path sword. It's protects from path, which is what we want. It doesn't deal as much damage as the Sword of War and Peace does in those matchups, because the path matchups, they're often keeping a lot of cards in their hand. But this could potentially gain us a decent amount of life. I think basically every matchup where we bring in War and Peace and wanting the life gain, I don't think it's ever really gaining more than 3 life like we would from a Light and Shadow, so that's a huge upgrade there in the life gain side of it. The returning a creature card from your graveyard to your hand isn't normally relevant in the path matchups. I think it's more relevant now because in those matchups, to protect from Verdict, I'm bringing in Selfless Savior. I could potentially also gain life off a Gingerbread and bring it back for what that's worth. Like in the red, the prowess matchups, that might be a thing. Also, just bring back chump blockers could help, especially those mid-range matchups, especially in the fatal push matchups. You know, like both of these effects are kind of iffy. Whereas gaining 3, at least, it's the weaker of the effects in the black mid-range matchups, but it still does a bit. You know, it makes their attacks a little worse, lets us stay on the aggro, like potentially stay on the aggro with their flyers, and their creatures maybe have to stick back because they need to keep our ground at bay because we're gaining 3, so they can't actually threaten us. But returning a creature card from your graveyard to your hand is very, very good in those matchups. The issues I've had with Light and Shadow is just so not aggressive. You know, it's very, compared to the War and Peace, it feels very slow. But with that said, the War and Peace wasn't a fast option in any of the games we've seen it in recently. Like, so maybe because, you know, this is very slow to kill opponents. It's just making a big change on the board, which this kind of does as well. Honestly, I'm just going to take the truth justice out here. That's not even really consideration. The biggest consideration is between these 4. War and Peace, in the last few weeks I've been running, it hasn't impressed. I'm not gonna lie. It's something I wanted to be good, and I've run it in the past. But we're empty-handed too much and not going to gain life off it. Like the matchups where we want to gain life, we get empty-handed. The matchups where we want to deal damage, they get empty-handed. So I'm not impressed. And this was an interesting test, but it's the biggest reason for being okay with running this was like, if Tron's stumbling, we're versing Tron and they're stumbling and they play like a Oblivion Stone, I can blow it up with this sword. But if I'm doing that, like, I can blow up a sword, I can blow up like their planeswalkers and stuff, but I shouldn't be able to get this in play if they've played an Oblivion Stone or if they've played a planeswalker. Like, if they've played a slow Oblivion Stone, they shouldn't really be able to get to 5 to pop it. And if they do, I should have other options. Also, like we saw in this league, that all his stuff seems to be in the deck assumedly over some number of O-Stones, so that's not even that great. Like, maybe it's good against Little Khan because that's something they can do if we like Alpine Moon them or something. We get to kill the Little Khan, kill like the Ensnaring Bridge they grab or whatever. But it's not really game breaking the Tron matchup. The things that are game breaking the Tron matchup are our main deck stuff, like these Alpine Moons. And in the mid-range matchups, like, yeah, it could kill a Lily. It could... So there's not many artifacts that it's going to destroy in the push matchups. It's mostly be able to destroy the Planeswalkers. Which, I'm a creature deck, so that's not necessarily something I need to worry about. Like, this just overall hasn't really impressed either. The reason I brought it in, though, was because this wasn't impressing. So for next time, we are going to try the Light and Shadow. We open up a sideboard slot. And I mentioned it before, I do want to try a second Soul Guide land, potentially a second Graveyard Hate slot. This just looks really clean, having all these 2-ofs. I am going to stick with the Red Splash and the Alpine Moons for the Tron matchup, and the Green Splash for the Veil Summer in a lot of the mid-range matchups. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Everything else on the list is pretty good. I'm willing to give this mana base another chance. Otherwise, I could see cutting down on the fetch lands because we have 6 fetchables and 8 fetches. So maybe we want to trim on the fetches. I had the 4 Iron Maces. I picked up the 4 Flooded Strands and just jammed them all in just to kind of go deep into it and see. I could see taking these back out, like all of them out potentially, and adding basics. Maybe my splash is that light that I can get away with. That might be something to test 1 week. Maybe I do that, like take these 4 out, add 2 basics, add another 1 of each of these. It's interesting. I'll give it another league before I start trying to make miracles happen with this mana base. But with that said, this was Quest for the Holy Relic. with a green and red splash, it honestly impressed. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, whatever, the usual YouTube stuffs, but I just appreciate having you guys watch. Thank you once again, and until next time, bye-zy.